Welcome, beautiful people of all ages, shapes, and colors, to another episode of the E44 podcast, where we encourage you to stick to the basics. I'm one of your co-hosts, aka TV on basketball, alongside my co-host, aka the Knockdown Jay. How's it going, my guy?
I'm chilling, bro. Basketball season is in full effect. We're pulling up on Christmas, which means we got Christmas games and good spirits, bro. I'm feeling good so far. 20 something games into the season.
Yeah, there is a lot to talk about. We have a jam-packed show for you guys today. There was a huge storyline that happened this week. We're going to talk about. We're going to be doing some NBA Christmas topics alongside talking about the games from the day. So we'll give you our suggestions basically as to which games you should be paying attention to. We're going to have the draft, of course, and of course we're going to finish off with the quiz. So it's going to be an action-packed show. Hope you guys enjoy it. But before we get into it, we do have to plug our socials. Remember to follow our individual accounts at the Knockdown J, at TV on Basketball, alongside with the routine jumper for Jay as well. Those links can be found in the description down below. But in terms of the Hit Your Free Throws page, remember to follow us on TikTok and Instagram for the best daily NBA content. If you're on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you will not miss an episode. And if you're listening on any of the podcast networks, subscribe, leave a review, all that good stuff. We appreciate all of your support. Jay, are you ready to talk some ball?
Yeah, man. I'm always ready.
And unfortunate that we have to do this, but we have to start off the court because something really big happened, and it led to a lot of news happening this week. And it turned into an indefinite suspension, which, funnily enough, less than a year ago we got the John Morant one, so we had two in the calendar year, which is crazy. But Draymond Green hit another person. Yes, Draymond Green. Are we surprised? No, he had I think a 3-game suspension earlier this season. And did he learn his lesson? No, because it's Draymond Green, and he freaking how would I explain the play? He was in the post, and then afterwards he swung his body like a helicopter and freaking clocked Yusuf Nurkic in the face. I mean, it's even to the point where Warriors fans are can't defend this guy anymore. So he got suspended. He's suspended indefinitely, and more news came out afterwards saying that his counseling sessions are going to be lasting about 3 weeks. So basically, he's going to be out for a minimum 3 weeks. So we're not going to be seeing some Draymond in a while. But Jay, I'm going to throw this over to you. Was the suspension warranted? Do you think it was too hard on the league, or did they get this right?
No, the league got this one right. Indefinite is one of the things that comes up when you have a history. Indefinite is not handed out just because of a very indecent act. Granted, there are certain circumstances, a la Malice in the Palace-esque things, where an indefinite suspension without history is still warranted. But under the now established regime that is the NBA's, more buttoned up look, getting an indefinite suspension comes with repeated offense. It comes with legitimate concerns, right? Draymond Green is slowly but surely becoming a detriment on the court for reasons that go beyond his lack of elite play so far this season. Still a top defensive player, by the way, but he's pretty much a net negative across the board outside of that. I think the bigger conversation to have is less about what the suspension is, because especially with it being indefinite and 3 weeks being the bare minimum, there's at least an understanding timetable wise that it's gonna be a while. I think the real question to ask is, what does this mean for the Warriors season? 12-14. They play tonight, I believe, as of us recording this. They play the Celtics too. So I mean, hey, but that doesn't really matter. 12-14 as of us recording this, 11th in the Western Conference, some legitimate teams in front of them. The Phoenix Suns, 14-12. The Houston Rockets, top defense in the league, has been playing relatively well. The Lakers having a little bit of a hangover after the in-season tournament victory, but they're still the Lakers. The Pelicans, I talked all my trash about Zion, but look, the Pelicans have been playing well. And then kind of to round out the teams that are not in that definite spot is the Clippers, who are in the top 6 at 16-10. They're on a heater right now, 9-1 in their last 10 games. Name the team that falls out because of the Warriors in terms of the play-in or the playoffs or the play-in tournament structure. Name the team out of that group, the 6 through 10 that's established right now, that the Warriors are going to bump off to put themselves in the mix. Like, they only have to do it to one, but who is it? The Rockets are probably the one everybody would want to go with, but they've been playing really good ball. So the question is, what does Draymond Green's suspension mean for how the Warriors carry themselves during that time and how they look at this season overall? I guess I'll ask you first.
I think even though Draymond is important to the team, he is their team's defensive anchor. Just getting rid of the Draymond Green distraction is going to provide some sort of benefit to the Golden State Warriors. And it's already starting. 2-game winning streak right now. Klay Thompson over the last 3 games is doing his best to beat the washed allegations. He's been playing pretty damn well over the last 4 or 5 games. But what this forces is other people to step up. Kuminga, Steph Curry even had a bad game and they pulled out a win. So it just forces other people to step up. So that's going to be big time for the Warriors. So just to get rid of the Draymond distraction of it all, I think it's going to become a benefit for the Warriors in general. In terms of the suspension, this was long overdue. You've seen those compilations on Twitter. Oh, sorry, on X. You've seen those. You've seen those compilations there. This, like, I was looking at those compilations thinking, man, I forgot about the Kevin Porter Jr. situation. Oh, I forgot about this one. This is what he's done to us. This is what Draymond Green has done to NBA fans. That he's done so much things that we forget about certain instances because they weren't brought up as much. This one against Jusuf Nurkic, like I mentioned, that thing just, it was so uncalled for, and you knew that something was going to come after this. Draymond Green, again, has been hurting the Warriors on the court with his attitude, so him going away from the team has to prove to be some sort of benefit, but it's also hurting the image of the league. He is someone who is representing the NBA not just on the court, but also on NBA on TNT. He has a deal over there as well.
True. Wow, I didn't even think about it from that angle.
Yeah, so Draymond Green is becoming this, like, representation of the league that at this point, and you could tell with the indefinite suspension, that they're tired of his shenanigans, man. They're just so tired of having to deal with it. So it's saying, you know what? We're not even going to put a game limit on this. We're just saying indefinite, and it's like you're telling yourself, a little kid, this. We'll put you back out there. You can go back to recess when you are ready. This is what you have to tell a grown man to Draymond Green. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And what irritates me more is the comments he made, not after this suspension, but the first one. He's like, I don't know why the league is like taking into account my other ones. I served my time for that. Why do I do this? Draymond, do you know there's something called a repeat offender? There is people in jail, if you do the same crime again, if you serve your time in jail, they're gonna if you commit the same crime again, they're gonna take your other charges into account as a repeat offender. Draymond, you've done this too many times. You've done this on the biggest stage in the NBA Finals. You did it last season, in the playoffs, by stepping on Sabonis' chest. Draymond, this is too much of a reoccurring issue to be deemed as an accident, or you just have that, that bully ball mentality in you. This is careless. This is reckless. It's too much, and I think that the NBA has finally got this right. 3 weeks minimum was good because some people were like, look, Ja had an indefinite suspension, but it was like 7 games. This is proven to be that it's going to be like 10 plus games. So he's going to figure this out. Whether sending him to therapy or counseling is going to help out, we'll have to wait and see. But this requires, this is going to be something big when they come to this agreement, because it's not just the NBA working on a suspension, it's the NBPA. So they had to come together saying, what is the right amount for this, for Draymond Green and what he's been doing in the league right now. So they've come to the agreement that an indefinite suspension is warranted, and so he has to serve it. He's done too much of this already, and now he's paying the price. This is like 2-3 weeks after his last suspension. This was bound to happen.
I think the main thing with Draymond Green is he's come to the point where we're going to look at him as the guy that we know as an elite defender, defensive player of the year caliber individual with a checkered enough past where that part doesn't get brought up enough, though. Like, we're going to know of his importance. We're going to understand his overall contributions to the Warriors franchise and their championship runs. But it's going to, in the landscape of telling the Draymond Green story, we are going to get to a point where we are talking more about the things that are not positive than the things that are in terms of his overall contribution to the game. And this is something weird that I've been thinking about, TV. Why does it always seem like Draymond Green implodes most when it seems like the Warriors are most notably at their weakest? I think that's something else that's always been a very good indication. If you remember, one of the most notable things was Draymond Green kind of taking himself out during that season that Steph Curry had to miss basically the entire year, right?
Yeah.
There's that indication as well. This year, the Warriors are not playing good ball. Steph Curry is the only person that's been consistent. Shout out to Brandon Pajemski, though. He's been balling,
He's been
all
great.
things considered, as a rookie for them. But he's been the only real model of consistency so far this season. Again, 11th in the Western Conference, but not the greatest pathway to make any kind of, upward trajectory, at least within the Western Conference with the way it's slated right now. It just always seems Draymond Green comes off as the ultimate front runner. He comes off as somebody that when the circumstances are not advantageous, he is somebody who does not position himself well. And I think that's going to hurt him overall. When you look at the landscape of Draymond Green's career, of course, the first thing that's going to come up is, could Draymond Green actually do the things that he's been capable of doing on a different team that's outside of the Warrior system, right? That's always been the conversation. That was one of the biggest conversation starters when we were talking about Draymond Green before he got his 4-year, $100 million extension with the Warriors, right? If he became a real free agent, what teams would even covet a Draymond Green, considering we don't know what he looks like outside of the Warrior system? So, of course, there's already that. But the other question is, how good was Draymond Green in seasons where the Warriors were not slated to be a championship contender? Like when they were not that team, which isn't much of his career, by the way, actually. But when they've been in those situations where they were not slated to be that team, how is he? And it's not great. The track record for it is not great. And I think you can maybe use the 2021 season maybe as the outlier, but I think we all still had the Warriors in the mix pretty much all year. So even then, it's kind of one of those things where if the Warriors are not considered as a top 3 team to come out the Western Conference, where is Draymond Green's mind at? The track record says nowhere good.
Yes. It's one of those things where it's like, this is the equivalent I see to this. It's like when a kid has his video games, he's having a great time, and then all of a sudden you ground him. You take away the video games. It's like taking away winning from Draymond. When you take away the winning aspect of the game, when he's having the most fun, when he's the most engaged, he's gonna throw a tantrum. And what does that lead to? Kicking people in the balls. It leads to choking out opposing players. It leads to these wild punches. It's because the Warriors team is not revered in the same light. It's because it's because the Warriors are not winning the same way that he's used to. It's the deterioration of the Warriors dynasty is the same like deterioration of like Draymond Green's mental, if you know what I mean. Where it's like the worse the Warriors get, the worse Draymond Green tends to act out.
That's a great way to phrase it. The worse that the Warriors get, the worse that Draymond Green's attitude and actions develop into. That's a great way to phrase it. And you know what's funny about that? That only further pushes the narrative that although Steph Curry is the Warriors' best player, the Warriors come and go as Draymond goes. That only further is
of Draymond. Yeah, they take the personality of Draymond.
Yes, I think that only further emphasizes that point that's been made for a long time, that Steph Curry will always be considered their best player. The Splash Brothers will always be the most notable duo amongst the Golden State Warriors franchise. But Draymond Green, especially to this dynastic group, will always be the linchpin, the barometer as to what the temperature in the room looks like.
Yeah.
When you think about where they feel they are as a championship caliber team, what the state of their future is. And it's funny, you think about the deterioration. Let's look at the Warriors, right? Let's really put them into perspective. Steph Curry is their most consistent player. Jonathan Kuminga is very up and down, yet they don't want to move off from him. Brandon Pajemski has come in and as a rookie is already playing more than Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody so far this season.
Every single
Really, really notable. Klay Thompson, again, like you said, fighting the washed allegations, but let's be real, still small sample size for the good games he's put together.
Yeah.
Draymond Green ain't been that great. Andrew Wiggins, he's been okay this season, but definitely not 2021 Andrew Wiggins. And ever since he slammed his finger into a car door, he's regressed again after putting it together a pretty decent small stint for like 2 to 3 games. Chris Paul, he's been okay, but he's a drink stirrer. We talk about this all the time. He's a game manager at the point guard position now, right? So, and they're super old. Like, I hate to do that to them, but they're a very old basketball team. All of this is culminating to it's going to be tough to even maneuver through the West, let alone come out of the West this year. And that's not really familiar territory for the Warriors outside of 1 year that we all knew they were going to be bad, which was when Curry was hurt the entire year. Other than that, we've always seen them in the mix basically since 2015. That's a long time to be a team that's always been in the mix. And this is the first time where they have their full group and they still don't look good enough to really be in the middle of what's going on in the Western Conference right now.
And I'll end this topic with this. They moved off Jordan Poole this past offseason, someone who was a key component to that 2022 NBA championship, someone who is kind of the bridge between the old, like the youth and the older players in the Golden State Warriors. He worked out there. But the Warriors realized that we value this core group of players over Jordan Poole, even though logically it makes sense to have someone there be under the wing of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in order to grow with the team, in favor of the Klay Thompson, Draymond Greens after what happened with the whole punching incident. That is going to show like how much influence Draymond has in the organization and how the Warriors are willing to sink or swim with this roster at hand. They've built their grave at this point. They showed with the Jordan Poole trade, we are sticking with this core and we're gonna live and we're gonna die by this core. And now we're seeing the results of it.
I like that. I think that's a great way to cap that. It's a great representation of how this is gonna go. If the demise of the Warriors dynasty has to go anyway, it's not gonna be us selling off the guys. It's gonna be everybody falls off.
Yeah, everyone's gonna go down together, which I guess makes perfect sense for the Warriors, but also it's an ugly demise. Let's be honest. It's been kind of
the sink or swim aspect of the Warriors is something I don't think we've ever truly thought about until now, right? The idea that they're really backed up against the wall, but Klay Thompson becomes an unrestricted free agent this summer. Steph Curry is signed long term. You got 3 more years of Draymond Green on $20 million, $20 to $25 million a year. It's a lot to ask. And again, you look at the idea of a Jonathan Kuminga, a Moses Moody. They don't have a war chest of assets in terms of youth, or it's like you said, they're going down with the ship. It's admirable, but like you said, it's also a very ugly watch. But I love the way you phrase that because I think that's a great point. It shows in the way they play. It shows in the way the season is going.
100%. Moving on. The Warriors have a game on Christmas, by the way. You're gonna see some more Warriors, unfortunately, without Draymond Green. But that's what's gonna happen. But we're gonna be moving on to the Christmas Day schedule because I love NBA Christmas Day, man. No games overlapping with each other. You have back-to-back games all throughout the day. I love just having the NBA in the background while you're talking with your family, you're having a good time, and all you see is just like NBA basketball just going on in the background. Yeah. So what we're gonna do here? There's 5 games here, and Christmas Day can be busy, but there's some pretty damn good matchup you want to watch out. So me and Jay are gonna help rank this and see which games that you think number 5 don't really have to pay attention to. But number 1, this is the one where you have to kind of sit in front of the TV, hunch over, and watch just some great basketball. So let's see. Jay, what do you think is like the least desirable game to watch on the schedule so far?
I think the least desirable game is Philly versus Miami. I hate to say that because they have a real MVP candidate in Joel Embiid, reigning MVP, by the way. Joel Embiid, who's balling, balling this season.
Yeah.
But Bam Adebayo is still out for the Miami Heat. I
Yeah.
don't know who's going to be able to deal with Joel the way he's been playing. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. Obviously, he's going to play relatively well. There are some health concerns across the roster, but I think that Tyler Hero is back now. If not, he should definitely be back by Christmas with the way he's been projected.
Yeah.
But I don't know, bro. I mean, Philly is an interesting team. Miami is an interesting team. But in terms of wow factor, in terms of like insane performances in this, that, and the third, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know if this is a game that I'm gonna be like glued to the TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna be near the bottom with this game as well. Like, it's, yes, there's some star talent, and if Jimmy Butler does come back from injury, it should be good because Bam played the last game as well. It's just Jimmy's more of the question mark here.
True.
I think
Yeah,
it'd be
it's probably more Jimmy at this point.
yeah. I just think that with the amount of games that are going on, and you know what, I'm gonna tell you right now, Christmas dinner's going around that time. You're probably like chatting up with the family. You're not really gonna have the time to really go down and watch it. So I don't mind that there. I probably have it more in the 4 section, but I feel that as well. My bottom here, I don't know how you feel about this one. I honestly don't really care too much about the final game, just because I don't know.
Mavs Suns.
Mavs Suns, just because it's always tough to watch that last game. You're like tired from all the eating, from all the talking. And sure, you want to go down and spend the night to watch basketball, but do you really want it to like bleed over to the next day? Because this game's gonna finish like 1 a.m. Eastern.
True.
So I'm gonna have to put that there. It's a good matchup. Not gonna. It's Luka versus KD, but it's just unfortunate timing, man. for that.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you put it there because I was actually gonna put it at 4, and it was literally just for the timing. Because I think Devin Booker versus Luka Doncic is gonna be super entertaining, right? They both have some of the highest usage rates in the NBA. Kevin Durant is healthy. Obviously, we know Bradley Beal is gonna be out for an extended period of time. So, still haven't seen the trio play together yet.
Yeah.
But Dallas is playing good ball. Again, I think we mentioned this when we were off camera, but Kyrie Irving doubtful to probably play in that game. So that obviously makes it a little bit more Luka-centric on the Dallas side of things. But I think overall, I think the concept of the matchup is dope. But I do think that the timing of the game is going to put a bit of a strain on it in terms of watchability. That's probably why I would put it at 4. But if we're going off of talent alone, this could arguably be the most entertaining game of all the games on that on Christmas itself.
Yeah, 100%. So we put the 2 late games at 5 and 4. As that could be interchangeable, but yeah, it's just tough, especially with like the injuries going on, especially with these teams as well. So it's tough to kind of like really like get us to like sit down and like hunker down and try to watch these games.
Yeah.
At number 3, I'm gonna go with agree or disagree. Warriors Nuggets.
Same.
I just think that the Warriors not being at the best they can, the Nuggets still looking like a top team in the West. I think it's much more of an imbalance than it's going to be. Nikola Jokic is healthy. Jamal Murray should be healthy for this game. The Nuggets have the clear advantage here. And now without Draymond to like lead that Warriors defense and like the other guys not really playing as well, are we going to expect a masterclass from Pojenski to kind of help the Warriors take over the hump against the defending champs? Probably not, but it's a fun game. But I'm going to slot it right in the middle because it's good timing. It's near the beginning of the day, you're going to be energetic enough to kind of like want to watch it, but you just don't. It just doesn't have the same feel for the Warriors it has in years past.
Yeah, I think the other thing is quietly a notable thing to take into consideration from a fan perspective or like a wow factor perspective. The Nuggets are the home team, and that changes things significantly. See, if this was the Warriors playing as the down man with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Brandon Podziemski playing relatively well, and this was at Golden State, I think this would be seen much differently, right? But because it's at Denver holds down the home court very, very well. You know what I mean?
So altitude and the altitude.
Yeah, dude, it's a totally different demon. And you throw on top of that not having Draymond Green to be able to do damage as a coverage guy against Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon. Like it changes things significantly. So the thing that would have played equalizer would have been Golden State playing at home. But now you have the Nuggets at home with this talent advantage. Steph Curry's going to have to put together one of his best games of the season. I think he has the capability of doing that. But Nikola Jokic also has 10 triple doubles on the year, gang. So I think he can go tit for tat with Curry. And from there, like you said, Jamal Murray's back healthy, ready to play. Aaron Gordon, those fellas playing at a high clip. TV, we said it before the season started, bro. The Nuggets got the best starting five in the NBA in terms of continuity and talent combined. They're going up against an undermanned old Warriors team. That's tough cooking.
It's a tough game, man. I mean, again, if it was like the same Warriors, even with Draymond Green, I would have been a bit more, excited for this matchup, knowing that the Draymond Green versus Nikola Jokic matchup could be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Both guys, I mean, Draymond's had his share of ejections. We just talked about him, but Jokic has been kind of a hothead this year too. But we'll push that aside. But yeah, it's just not the same feel. It's great to see the defending champions in action, but yeah, we're gonna put that at number 3. At number 2, it's got to be the first game of the day. I don't know. What do you think?
You think so?
You think it's gonna be the first game of the day?
So at number 2, I'm actually gonna put the Celtics Lakers, and the reason why I'm putting Celtics Lakers is because what is there in this game that pops off? Is it LeBron James in his situation? What is he gonna be, 39 by that point?
It's his birthday, man.
Yeah. He's going to be 39. I mean, okay, there's the aspect of LeBron James turns 39, plays what could potentially be one of his last Christmas games ever, right? But it's not the same Lakers Celtics. It's not the same Lakers Celtics.
The historical context is there. The historical background.
True. Yeah. There's enough there that I think is interesting. Let me argue for why Bucks Knicks
okay, let me see.
Is the one. First game of the day, which means we're already kicking off. Everybody's eyes are on because it's the first game. This is the game we know everybody can catch.
Yeah.
This game is in New York.
That's fair. MSG's going to be rocking.
MSG is going to be a problem. Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, dare I say his name, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is just looking for a game ball, and Julius Randle, who's not looking, and Julius Randle, who's not trying to give up game balls. If you've seen his little joke that he had in the most recent game with Jalen Brunson,
love that.
There's a lot to like about this game. MSG is built for games like these, right? The games where anybody can go off for a crazy stat line, get crazy hot, put on a seriously enjoyable show. And again, it's leading the day. It's the first game of the day with this kind of star power. Look, we saw Jalen Brunson go 9 for 9 from 3. Who says Damian Lillard doesn't look at that and says, wait a minute, buddy, I might have to show you something real quick. Hold my beer. And steps into MSG and gives something back in response. Look, bro, we just saw Keegan Murray go 12 for 15 from Trey Pound. Like, the 3 ball is going in good these last couple of days for some of these guys. Yeah. Who says somebody's Christmas gift isn't a crazy 3-point shooting night of their own? I think the reason why I got Bucks Knicks at the top is, and I could be wrong, hot take alert, I got Dame going for like 45 plus, gang. I think we could have ourselves one crazy kickoff to Christmas.
You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. You brought me in. You brought me in. I want to see that, bro. Freaking like the MSG feel like takes the atmosphere from a game from like a 7 to like a 9, 10-ish. The MSG atmosphere. Plus, honestly, the only way that this could be better is if we get those, those old Christmas jerseys like they used to wear.
Oh man, yeah.
That would make it just the best feel ever. Because then those memories will be like in your mind, like, this is a Christmas Day game and everything. Like people remember the Kyrie Irving shot against the Warriors back in like 2017.
Dude, everybody remembers the Jingle Bell commercial, right?
The Jingle Bell commercials. Richard Jefferson dunking on Klay Thompson back in the
Yeah, come on, man. Like, there's so much to like, and I hope they take these type of things into consideration the same way they made the in-season tournament feel like its own thing. Christmas games are their own thing, bro. It's its own different kind of vibe. And don't get me wrong, I hate the Bulls green jerseys from when we were going through our little weird Christmas phases. Everybody has their own ugly jerseys, right?
Yeah.
So we'll take them ones on the chin. But there's a lot of good that's come through these Christmas games. Now, here's something that's willing to throw up. And this is why it should be considered a toss-up between these two games. That's why I'm glad these are the last. The question is, will people come out the way we think they should for the Lakers game on LeBron James' birthday? If they come out rocking the way that you think the historical context should implicate, that game could be much, much more live than the Knicks game. But we know how LA politics are. We know how it goes when those basketball games. The glitz and the glamour, the stars will show up. But will it be the kind of packed house, the kind of ruckus that you should have for LeBron James turns 39 on what could be arguably one of his last Christmas games of his career? Like, if the fans show up the way I think they're capable of, from an attendance standpoint, from a entertainment factor standpoint, the Lakers game could be far and away more entertaining. But if we're talking about who we know is going to show up, the Knicks on Christmas, man, you know it's going to be live in the MSG. That's going to be an equalizing factor. LeBron James already has a lot to do with it. But him turning 39, let's see if people show up for his birthday.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Let's cap this off. Let's see. Let's have our official rankings. We'll have Philadelphia, Miami at 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. We'll have Dallas, Phoenix at 4. Right. We'll have Warriors, Nuggets at 3, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Celtics, Lakers. I think it's more volatile. I think you're right with that game, especially with the way the Lakers have been playing right now. It's not been the best, so that's fine. And then we'll go Knicks, Bucks as number 1. But man, we're telling you right now, you got to be tuned into these Christmas games, especially that first one. Yo, if Dame hits Dame time, you know it's gonna be wild up there in MSG.
I'm telling you, bro. I got this weird feeling. If I'm wrong, I'll post it. But I'm just saying, I got this weird feeling that Dame Lillard is gonna come out and ball. Like, you gotta think about it, bro. Dame hasn't played a meaningful basketball game in like 2-3 seasons, bro. Now he's playing on the Milwaukee Bucks team that's finally clicking a little bit. He's going into MSG as the first game on Christmas Day. I think he's going to ball out.
I think so, too. Let us know down below. Agree with our rankings? Which Christmas days are you most excited about? Let us know down below in the comments section. Let us move on to the next one. And we're going to be doing some holiday-themed topics with the NBA, with the holiday season right around the corner. We're going to be trying to use these prompts and see kind of these. We're going to be using these Christmas prompts to determine who we think like the NBA answers to these are. So, for example, I'm going to give you the first question right here. It'll make more sense as we go along. Jay, I'm going to throw this to you first. Which player deserves the best gift from Santa this year? Who has been a good boy? Who's been a good player, good team, and they deserve all the love that they have?
To me, the first guy that should go on the NBA, if we're talking about like NBA naughty or nice list, right? Like, the person who should be the poster child for the NBA nice list is Russell Westbrook. Let's be real about Russell Westbrook real quick. And I've been waiting to do this on the pod for a while, but now that the Clippers are playing well, it really reinforces it. Let's talk about Russell Westbrook for a second. Russell Westbrook signs for a minimum contract, basically, to come back to the LA Clippers as the guy who is assumed to be their starting point guard coming into this season. They later on make a trade for James Harden, and they try to make it work with James Harden and Russell Westbrook as the starting backcourt with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who have been oddly healthy this year, mind you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out in the beginning. What, 0 for 5, 0 for 6 in the first handful of games with James Harden?
Yeah, 0 for 5, yeah.
What does Russell Westbrook do? despite being the established commodity on the Clippers at the point guard position, he does damage control before the PR can even get in front of it. He says, I'm going to come off the bench. Everybody and their mama looked at the situation. We even argued about it on podcasts on whether or not it was James Harden or Russell Westbrook that should be the one that should be considered to come off the bench, because we never thought the starting backcourt of both of them together would work when also looking at Kawhi Leonard and Paul George being on the floor as well, right? So not only does he save Coach Ty Lue the trouble of having to explain why Russell Westbrook is coming off the bench, not only does he save the PR nightmare of them saying, oh, now Russell Westbrook's been benched by Ty Lue in favor of James Harden, but since they've made the adjustment for James Harden being the point guard, they've been a really, really good team. And as of the last 10 games, I mentioned it earlier when we talked about the Warriors, 9-1 in their last 10 games. And I believe they're on like a 7-game, eight game now winning streak, and are playing really good basketball. That all starts with Russell Westbrook making the selfless call to say, you know what? I know that I'm the guy who helped revitalize the LA Clippers season last year after the trade deadline. I know I'm the guy that everybody clamored for in the offseason to get a re-up contract back with this team, because guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were verbal about wanting Russ back on the squad. Yeah. Yes, he's the established commodity, but he looked this team up and down and said, the easiest transition to make in order for us to get where we want to go is for me to go back to the role that actually helped him shine the most in his time during the Lakers stint, coming off the bench. That is one of the most selfless things we've seen this entire season, and I think that should be rewarded. Russell Westbrook has single-handedly helped turn the Clippers season around with his play on the floor and his ability to make decisions off the floor in favor of what's best for his team. Shout out to Russ, bro. Shout out to Russ.
I never understood those freaking rumors about him being a bad teammate. I never believed that 1 second, because every single person he has been on the court with, who had the pleasure to share the court with Russell Westbrook, has nothing but good things to say. Nothing but good things to say about him. And just as he's done season in, season out, he's learned to accept his role. He wants to do what's best for his team. And if it means coming off the bench now, which has been working, like you mentioned, he's gonna do it. So we gotta show Russ all the love possible.
Definitely.
Funnily enough for me, man, I have another Clipper as the top of my nice list. You mentioned him, Kawhi Leonard. Let me tell you, he has not missed a game this year. Kawhi Leonard has not missed a game. What world are we living in? Is the new rules working? Is the rest rules working against him? Or are we finally seeing Kawhi Leonard in a system where he's not being taxed as much? We saw him like early on in the season. You know, he was not missing games, but he also wasn't the same Kawhi Leonard. On this 8-game winning streak, he's had a 41-point game, a 34-point game, a 31-point game, a 27, a 36, and a 28-point game. If you don't know already, Kawhi Leonard is back. Kawhi Leonard is back to his best form. James Harden has been playing good too, not gonna lie. But Kawhi Leonard has shown why he's he should be the number one guy in this team. Paul George was like that for the most of the season. To be fair, he's still playing very, very well. But Kawhi Leonard is showing why he's the best player on this team. Consistently one of the best defender on the team. And now he's getting his shot back. Look, man, we talked about how can this work. Kawhi Leonard has to be the best player here, and he's finally showing out. And he's doing it playing every single game. You can't help but smile at that, man. Kawhi Leonard has to deal with a lot of injuries. He's tried to defend himself too, saying, look, I want to be there on the court. He definitely does mean it. He's a hooper. He wants to be playing. And now finally things are going right for him. This guy deserves a gift from Santa, man. This guy is actually playing every single game, and he's playing now at the highest level that we know Kawhi Leonard can play.
Yeah, shout out Kawhi, bro. I mean, we all kind of thought that the whole, rules that were established were going to kind of equalize things a little bit. He's actually kind of feeding into that narrative a little bit with the fact that he's been so healthy this year. Not that we're trying to question him or anything like that, but it does kind of reinforce the narrative, right? So I mean, that is interesting that that's the case. But shout out to him, and let's make sure we keep that in context. He didn't start off the season very well, though.
Oh no, he did not.
He has had a very strong last couple of weeks and is starting to really put it together, and it looks good. And it's good to see, because that means that the Clippers are going to be good, and they're playing really nice basketball. Shout out to Kawhi, because him being the best player on this team is what makes them a championship caliber team. They have a squad. Don't get me wrong, and they got the payroll to back it up. But Kawhi Leonard being the best player on this team is the difference between them being a middle of the pack team in the Western Conference and them being a legitimate championship contender. So it's good to see him playing.
It is great to see him playing. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We talked about the good. Now we got to talk about the bad. Jay, which player / team deserves Cole understocking this year? A team that doesn't deserve any gifts, doesn't deserve any praise.
I'm gonna tell you who it is, and I was gonna go for an entire franchise, but you know what? I'm gonna pick on a specific individual. I'm gonna pick on a specific individual, and it's because we got to make sure that this is understood. TV, the fattest lump of coal goes to Detroit Pistons head coach Monty Williams. This is ridiculous. 24 straight losses. 24 straight losses this season. This is for the guy that just signed for a 6-year, $78.5 million contract. Like, let me make sure that that's understood. This man just signed for the next 6 years with this team, and he is making $13 million a year. TV, for context, the only players being paid more than Monty Williams this season are Bojan Bogdanovic and Joe Harris. Every other player on the Detroit Pistons is being paid less than Monty Williams right now. And this dude is coaching this team into 24 straight losses. That is insane to think about. Monty Williams would be the third highest paid player on this team, and he can't coach this team into a win? We had the Suck Bowl with them against the Washington Wizards, and they got waxed.
Bad.
Dude, this is the same guy who a season ago had the Suns win 20 games in a row. Does everybody remember that? Monty Williams had the Suns win 20 games in a row. Now he's got the Pistons on one of the longest losing streaks in NBA history. Monty Williams, he deserves a meteor-sized coal piece. He can't get out of his house because the rock's in the front of the crib. That man, I'm sorry, bro. I love him as an individual. I love the story and his background, but you cannot tell me that being this bad was part of the plan. I don't believe you. And we can arguably hand some coal over to the general manager of Detroit as well, because why the hell is James Wiseman on this team?
Why is Killian Hayes starting still? We can
ask a lot of questions. Why did Marvin Bagley get a re-up this summer? Why is Marcus Sasser not playing more than Killian Hayes?
Why is Isaiah Stewart shooting this many threes? I don't know, man. There's so many question marks. And the funny thing is, Jay, I'm not even going to lie. They were going to be mine as well. I'll show out another team afterwards. But it's... Bruh.
I mean, Jesus.
They were 2-1 at some point. They were 2-1.
Listen to what we have to say though. Like, they were 2-1. Like, we're like yippee. They had a over 500 record for the first 3 games of the season.
But then they haven't won since then. That's the problem. No, like, guys, again, put into context. The Detroit Lions have more wins this calendar year than the Detroit Pistons.
Goodness gracious.
That is a football team that plays 17 games a season. The Pistons have played over 100 games over these. It's bad. It's bad. It's really, really bad. There's no like sugarcoating this. There's no positivity into this. The fact that we haven't talked about the Pistons and we had to wait till this segment to do it. And we just have a lot of bottled up emotions here about how bad this team is.
This team is bad. This team is bad, TV.
No, like, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna move on to like my general, like the team that deserves Cole. Honestly, send Cole to the freaking bottom 3 teams in this league. And I'm looking at the Wizards, the Pistons, and the Spurs. How these 3 bad teams going on all at once? All at once, we have these 3 teams playing this badly.
Yeah.
I swear we haven't talked about, a really, really bad team since like the 14-15 Philadelphia 76ers. We haven't talked about them like a really bad team in this long.
Yeah.
We had the Spurs the other night go on like a 19-game losing streak. We had like multiple almost 10-game losing streaks from the Wizards. What is going on? How do we know these teams were bad. That's the thing. We knew these teams were going to be bad going into the season. But this bad? All these teams equally deserve Cole. All these teams equally deserve Cole. Maybe the Pistons more than others because they still haven't won a playoff game since 2000.
Oh my Lord. And it's so bad because when you look at the bottom of both conferences, like I feel better about the Blazers than I feel about the other 3 teams you named. And like that's just because DeAndre Ayton hasn't played well, which doesn't look good for the Hit Your Free Throws podcast because we had very good high hopes for him before the season. But they've been injured. Robert Williams out for the season. Anthony Simons missed a lot of time. Been playing really well since he came back, by the way.
Yes, he's been good.
What's it called? Scoot Henderson, sloppy start. Been playing relatively well as of late as well. I like Tumani Kamara, by the way. Very nice player. That's a guy that we might end up having like highlight on a different podcast. I really like him as a player. Matisse Thybulle playing a lot better this year. Found the 3 ball. Like, you know what I mean? Shout out to Matisse. Found the 3 ball in Portland. But the Spurs, they have Victor Wembanyama and they have 4 wins.
They have the lowest point. They have the lowest point differential in the league. The lowest point differential in the league.
The Wizards, they have Jordan Poole. Remember the James Harden rant by Kevin Garnett?
Yeah.
Hasn't even came close. The Detroit Pistons, they're 1 year away from having to make a decision on Cade Cunningham, and they have no landscape as to whether or not he can truly be a franchise caliber player with this team.
We don't know what these teams, man. What's worse, knowing the Pistons' luck, is that they're gonna have the worst record in NBA history and still get the 4th pick, knowing the freaking luck of the Pistons.
Wow, you're right. Or they're gonna get the 1st overall pick this year, and it's not gonna matter because this year there's no definitive number 1 guy.
That's
And you can only leave it up.
Yeah.
Leave it to the Pistons to grab another center.
I don't know, bro. I'm tired of these teams. It's just the fact that we've seen we have 3 teams near the bottom that are combined for 8 wins the entire year. It's just not good. They all deserve Cole, man. Terrible. All right, let's be a bit more positive. Who is the NBA Santa Claus? And what I mean by that, you can interpret this however way you want, but someone who is the biggest giver, doesn't take, always gives. He wants the best presents for every children, every person in the village. Jay, who's the NBA Santa Claus?
It's LeBron James. I think it's LeBron James. LeBron James in year 38, about to turn 39, shout out to him, birthday on Christmas, like we mentioned earlier, has been a top 10 player in the NBA. You need your superstars to take real situations like the in-season tournament seriously in order for them to be something that is going to later be considered as a staple in the league, right? If the in-season tournament is going to stick around, it has to first be taken seriously by your stars. Somebody like LeBron James taking the in-season tournament seriously and then the Lakers winning the in-season tournament, it gives it a little bit of legitimacy. Granted, a lot of people are talking about another Mickey Mouse championship. Wow, they've really hung up a banner for it all. Get your jokes off, of course. But at the end of the day, we have to admit, For basketball in October, November, and early December, this is some of the most exciting basketball we've seen in the last couple of seasons
100%.
for this time frame. And it's
100%.
not close. That has a lot to do with guys like LeBron James and other superstars across the league setting the precedent for taking this time frame seriously and making this portion of the season matter. LeBron James has played at a really high level as still one of the best talents in the league at his age, and is still making early season or doing his best to continue to push the relevancy of early season basketball. And we got a good month and a half to 2 months worth of early season basketball backed by a LeBron James led Lakers team that ended up winning the entire thing. Went undefeated through the entire time frame as well, mind you.
Yeah.
I think it's LeBron James. I think LeBron James has given us everything we can ask for so far this season. Hasn't really missed any games so far this year. Embraced the in-season tournament. After, right, if you once upon a time, you remember, was not the biggest fan of the play-in tournament. Yeah. Now is a fan of both.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
That is big. I mean, he's been doing the NBA a favor his entire career. Firstly, for just being this good for this long. Having like someone in the dual conversation like dominate the league for this long is always a plus for the league. Definitely. And just being a huge advocate for a lot of the things that Adam Silver has done, being in support of it, making sure, like you said, creating the influence to like trying to get everyone involved in this preseason tournament to like really be competing hard. Everything about this. I mean, LeBron James has to be showing up for just everything he's done for the game of basketball in general. He's always given to the league, and he's giving out his best every single year. Another fantastic season. There's no one even comes close to what he's done this year at this type of age. So he's definitely one of the biggest givers out there. In terms for me, I went through this about differently, and I'm looking at it from a content perspective.
Okay.
Dillon Brooks is a freaking NBA Santa Claus right now, man. He is NBA Santa Claus. The freaking content he gives us on a weekly basis with the quotes, with the memeable, him staring across the floor to the other team, like with the freaking devilish eyes that he has. He gives us content days for days. But to be honest, this season more than ever, he made us care about the Houston Rockets. And they're winning. They're winning. I'm not saying that Dillon Brooks is like the reason we watched the Houston Rockets. It's not.
Right.
But he has that kind of national attention from what he's done in years past where you just have to see what he does. It's always put on a national level what Dillon Brooks does the game. Oh, is he chirping on LeBron? That's going to be national media attention. Him and his ridiculous quotes, national media attention. But that has made us care about the Rockets. And you know what? They're delivering. Second best defense in the league. You have Alperen Şengün putting an all-star campaign together. Fred VanVleet. Dillon Brooks is having a good season. People thought he wasn't worth it for $40 to $80 million. He's outplaying that contract. He's been fantastic. And then you see other players like Tari Eason, fantastic year. Jabari Smith Jr., solid second year. He's actually been pretty solid. He's putting eyes on a Rockets team who we thought was lacking stability, was lacking, the grit. It felt like an AAU team. And now they have legitimacy.
Yeah.
And now getting more and more media attention. And honestly, Dillon Brooks is a big part of that. He's the one who gives his team character. He gives his team grit. And we talked about how Draymond Green becomes the engine, the emotion for the Golden State Warriors. That's what Dillon Brooks is for what he was for the Grizzlies and now what he's doing for the Rockets. And they're adapting that grittiness into their team. He's the biggest Santa Claus. Just the content for days he's able to give us, and now he's putting national attention on teams that we wouldn't even maybe consider talking about. Dillon Brooks, man, the biggest Santa Claus at least for this season for me.
I think you also have to highlight that Dillon Brooks arguably is one of the best feel-good stories in the NBA. He's very Dennis Schroeder-esque in terms of his rise back into prominence in the league. If you remember with Dennis Schroeder, the joke around him was that he denied us a very significant amount of money to return back to the Los Angeles Lakers and ended up fumbling a bag, kind of watching his career go down a weird path for about a season or two, and since then was able to win the FIBA tournament, play really well with your Toronto Raptors so far this season, and has kind of reestablished himself as one of the better, point guards in the league. Granted, I wouldn't say he's top 10 or anything like that, but he's a serviceable top 20 point guard in ways that I think for a minute there, we were a little concerned maybe he was going to fall off. Dillon Brooks exiled from the Memphis Grizzlies. Remember the quote, by no means are we looking to re-sign Dillon Brooks,
no means,
right?
crazy.
By no means. He goes into
Yeah.
the FIBA tourney, has a very strong tournament, plays well for Team Canada, comes back for the Houston Rockets, is having a career year shooting the three ball. He's been one of the linchpins for them defensively, as you mentioned, for the second best defensive unit in the NBA. He goes back, plays against the Memphis Grizzlies, and has a big-time dagger shot over former teammate Desmond Bane to help them win over the measly Memphis Grizzlies, who have been having a very rough season. Granted, they've been missing more than Dillon Brooks. They've obviously missed out on Tyus Jones, Steven Adams, Ja Morant, who should be back, by the time we're recording this. They've missed other players. But Dillon Brooks is one of those guys that was a big culture establishment for the Memphis Grizzlies, and now he's brought his talents over to the Houston Rockets and is helping them out. I love what he's doing for the team, and like you said, from a content standpoint, he's making them right. He's helping make the Rockets relevant, and that's a really good thing to say after they've been relevant for all the wrong reasons for the last 3 to 4 years now.
Yeah, 100%. Just glad that they're turning things around. We're seeing like a lot more action from their young players. Dillon Brooks is bringing that positive energy. I can't believe after all the hate that he's been giving the last, 8 months or so, he's bringing that positive energy to Houston, and it's making them really entertaining. Happy to see it. Jay, let's cap off this holiday segment with, for the remainder of the season, if you had one Christmas wish, what would it be for the rest of the season?
Burn down the Bulls, man. It's time. I'm just in that mode, bro. I want the Bulls to be good, but this is not the year. Zach LaVine, he has places he wants to be. I don't think we're going to see Zach LaVine play anymore for the Chicago Bulls. DeMar DeRozan, we haven't been able to make any successful strides in terms of contract negotiation. He's an expiring contract set to be an unrestricted free agent this summer. Alex Caruso, I don't know where we grew the stones to say that he is an untouchable, but he should not be at all. Shout out to my boy Kobe White, who's been given the reins by Billy Donovan so far this season. After watching Zach LaVine go down, the Bulls have played a much better basketball with Kobe White at the helm. I think he's averaging like 23, 5, and 4, shooting the ball well from 3. Really love what he's doing so far this year. We got to call it, though, bro. We got to call it. Don't get me wrong. Let's look at the standings right now. The Bulls, Raptors, and Hawks all have 11 wins.
Yes.
Those are the 3 teams, probably paired with maybe the Brooklyn Nets. So 4 teams that are really fighting for the 9th and 10th spot.
Mm-hmm.
When healthy, could the Bulls get one of those 2 spots? Sure. But what does that mean for the future of the Chicago Bulls, besides reinvigorating hope in this group for one more year, the way we did one more year too long last year that ended up leading to giving Nikola Vucevic $20 million a year? I'm not in the realm of wanting to sign up for false hope anymore. I think the Bulls need to look themselves in the mirror and realize that this season is not necessarily a wash because guys like Patrick Williams and Kobe White need the proper development. Mm-hmm. But you have to be able to get up off these guys while there's still any legitimate value for them. AC, gotta go. I would rather see AC on a championship team, bro. He fits better on a team that's playing in the playoffs. I love Alex Caruso as a postseason player. Need to see him on a better team. DeMar DeRozan, I don't want to see the twilight of his career fade in the Chicago Bulls uniform. Plus, he's an expiring contract. If anybody should be at the top of the list, it should be him, especially if we're not looking to truly re-sign him. Nikola Vucevic shouldn't be safe just because we gave him $20 million a year. Zach LaVine, probably the main guy that you have to trade in terms of trying to get any other kind of significant value outside of Alex Caruso at this point. My one wish for the rest of the NBA season is Bulls, please do the right thing. Just do the right thing and save us all the misery, bro. Because it's getting brutal.
Yeah, you know, you don't understand how close I was to put the Raptors in basically in that same sentence. You were so close, but I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I'm gonna let the basketball gods determine that. Will they let us happen? Will we able to do to our players? I'm leaving that up to them. But to be honest, as an NBA fan, my one wish for this NBA season, can we please have the Suns' big three play for more than 20 games together? Please. Please. We saw them for a game and then 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Yo, I'm dead.
They played one whole game together. They lost, by the way. They lost.
Right.
And then the second game, Beal injures his ankle in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Please, I don't want Brooklyn Nets 2.0. Let us see this so-called, potential best offense in NBA history flourish together. Is that too much to ask? Probably, because when you have a Kevin Durant team and you have two guys with injury histories, it doesn't end well. It just does not end well. And Beal's already being feeling the negative effects of that. Please, just for NBA fans in general, let them play more than 20 games together. Let them have a decently healthy playoff run. I just want to see them play, man. I just want to see them play.
Yeah, man, it's sad because I think that the Suns were one of those teams that I feel like we could have been really excited about this season, and I think we came into this year really excited about what they were capable of, and there's still a lot left on the table in terms of seeing them with that big three because we know how good Devin Booker is. Kevin Durant has been scarily good this year.
Yeah.
But they have not been able to put all the puzzle pieces together, which means we don't have a real indication of what this team can do in the postseason. And I'm going to be real with you. I had half a mind to put Bradley Beal on my deserves cold list because as a dude who forced himself to the Phoenix Suns, he sure as heck has not been a very great return on investment so far.
Yeah.
So far, we're talking about a guy who had the wherewithal to bamboozle the Wizards and barely play for the Suns all within a year's time frame. Yeah. That's not cool, kind of naughty, and also not great for either team because right now the Wizards aren't looking too great. And although the Suns look good, despite the fact that they're in 10th place in the West right now, they look good on the floor. He's barely contributed. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you. I would love to see the Suns play at least 20 games to give us a sample of what the heck they look like. They could look like in the postseason.
What was the Brooklyn Nets final number? What was it, like 17 or something, right? Was it like 17 games or something? They got to play the three of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Just more than that, please.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord, man. But yeah, those are all the Christmas proms, all the holiday proms. Let us know down below. Again, answer these questions. Which player deserves like a player/team a gift from Santa? Cole, who's NBA Santa Claus, and also what's your biggest wish for this NBA season? Jay, let us move on to the next topic, and we're reaching the final two. And of course, we have our TV and Jay's draft segment. And today, Jay, it's gonna be very simple. We talked about the Christmas Day games. That's the cool player today because we're gonna do our best to draft the best team possible using the best players playing on NBA Christmas Day this year. The only caveat is if they're not going to play either by injury or suspension, we're gonna those guys are off the limits. Those guys are off limits. Jay, you feeling good about this draft?
About to be a very talented team.
Very talented team. It's been a while since we had one of these very talented teams. I feel like we always have to put in like a Tyus Jones or a Duncan Robinson type player just to make things work around these drafts. But we finally have a team where, we have like some like legit like best player in the league types in here. So you know how these drafts work. Jay has the first pick. I get the next two. He gets the next two, Serpentine style. Jay, who is your first pick in the NBA Christmas Day draft?
I gotta go with the best player in the league, bro. I'm taking Jokic, man.
Taking Jokic to lead this team. Not a problem. I get back-to-back picks. And you get Jokic, I'll take the next two best players on the team, arguably. Give me Giannis. Give me Luka.
Cannot be mad at that. Let me get
These teams are
Let
about to
me.
be, by the way, they're going to be
Oh
nasty.
my gosh, right? Let me get. Oh man, let's reunite the guys. Give me Curry, and let me get KD.
Curry and KD on the roster. You got your your shooting on this team is
Yeah, bro.
oh man.
Like I
So
said, first really crazy talented team in a while. I'm trying to take advantage of it.
I gotta go with these next picks. Give me Joel Embiid and give me, you know what? Yeah, let's go with it. Let's go with Damian Lillard.
There's no way he
Or
wasn't gonna get drafted. Oh,
uh,
wait.
ooh, I'm thinking. You know what? Not Damian Lillard. I was gonna switch it up, but I was gonna go Damian Lillard.
All right, man. I can't be mad at it. I'm going to close out. Give me. I want Devin Booker and Jason Tatum to close out.
Bill, is this everyone in your lineup can shoot? I swear.
That's the theme, bro. I was going to take LeBron because he's shooting like a beast so far this year. I think he's shooting like 36, 37% from three. I just don't know how real it is. So I'm going to go with the guys that I know have a better track record.
Speaking of LeBron, how can we leave him off this draft on his birthday? On a day he's playing on his birthday.
Touche.
Gotta go with LeBron James. Imagine this matchup between our two teams in like an MSG setting. That would be legit.
Which is sad because no Knicks were drafted in the making of this draft.
Hey, look, if a Knicks fan saw this and saw the teams that we had, they'll take any of these players over what they have over there. Let's be honest. Pretty quick draft over there, but we're trying to make the best teams possible. Jay, throw it over to you. What team do you have over here for your Christmas Day draft?
For my Christmas Day draft, we got Shooter Gang, man. Steph Curry at the 1, Devin Booker at the 2, Jason Tatum at the 3, Kevin Durant at the 4, Nikola Jokic at the 5.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
How many packs do you think you got to rip in 2K to get a team like this, TV?
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
God.
God damn. All right. My team's pretty good. I don't know if it's like as good as that team, but it's pretty damn close. At the 1, give me Damian Lillard. Give me Luka Doncic at the 2. LBJ at the 3. Giannis running the 4-man. And give me NBA scoring champ, probably for the 3rd time this year, honestly, with the way he's playing, Joel Embiid. Honestly, this could go either way. Like, if you truly believe, looking at both rosters, who do you think has an advantage? Honestly, 7-game series, looking at our 2 rosters, we have some time to kill because we went through this draft hella quick. But between these 2 teams, who do you think comes out on top in a 7-game series?
Well, of course I'm going to be biased towards my team, but I'll say the one thing that probably really gives me trouble is the KD Joel Embiid matchup in the post, right? Because we're looking at KD versus Giannis and Jokic versus Embiid. That's going to be tough on my team defensively to be able to deal with that. Now, thankfully, I have Jason Tatum, but you have LeBron James. So there's a meet in the middle there. I think the equalizer is going to come down to the fact that I think Devin Booker and Curry can shoot the lights out in a way that I think compared to Damian Lillard and Luka Doncic, I think that's where the equalizer comes in, is that I think if you had to compare backcourts in terms of shooting, I think that we just have a better sniper group. Jason Tatum arguably is the biggest X factor on both sides of the floor for my team in a matchup like this, because his ability to be able to help guard on an Embiid and a Giannis and a LeBron for that matter, all super important. But I'm relying on being able to shoot the heck out the ball. That's what this team is built for.
Yeah. And in the 7-game series, how do you think it'll pan out? And like, how do you?
It's 4-3 game 7. There's no way. I like my team, but we're not good enough to be like taking you guys out crazy. I think it definitely goes 7 games for sure.
What's tough about this matchup is like, even if I want to put Giannis on one of your 2 guards, that means I'm like leaving KD to be guarded by someone else. Right. So you can't even switch matchups. It's literally impossible to switch matchups in this type of game. I like mine just because like you mentioned, the defensive impact they're going to have. I mean, if you want someone to guard KD, if you want someone to guard Jokic, these are two of the best guys that you're gonna have at defending both of these guys.
Yeah.
So I'm betting on that just so we can at least mitigate that matchup enough. But at the same time, you guys have too many snipers, too many just great perimeter scorers, guys you can create on their own. I mean, my team does too, not gonna lie. But it's a tough. But I think that my edge on the defensive end will probably get me to win here 4-3. Let us know down below what you guys think. Between these two juggernaut teams, who do you think is gonna come out on top? Let us know. Jay, we have reached the final segment of the show, which is the NBA quiz. And we talked a lot about good. We talked about Christmas Day. We talked about a lot about the positive stuff. Now we're going to talk about the bad boys here, man. We're going to talk about the ones that deserve coal in their stocking. Because, Jay, I'm going to need you to name me, in honor of Draymond Green,
Whoa.
the top 10 guys in NBA history with the most ejections.
Whoa.
The most ejections. Technically, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 boys on this list because there's a few people tied for 10th. But it's a top 10/11 nonetheless. Let's see if you can name all these guys.
So it's 10 guys, the most ejections in NBA history. Is this including Draymond Green, I would assume? Or is it everybody except for Draymond?
Including Draymond, he's at number 2. He's at number 20. He's at 20 ejections in his career.
Got you.
So there's 10 more guys technically because, again, we have like a few guys tied for 10.
Okay. DeMarcus Cousins has to be on this list.
He is tied for number 6 at 14 ejections. 14 ejections on his career. By the way, shout out to DeMarcus Cousins. This guy signed a 10-day contract in Taiwan.
Yeah, you know today. He's the starting front court next to Dwight Howard.
Is he?
Yes. They're on the same team. That's bro, in 2010, that would have been demonic. I'm gonna just be honest. In 2010, that team would have been crazy. Bro, in 2010, that team would have been crazy, bro. Come on, let's be real. That team would have been nasty. That is so crazy.
And now they're doing it in Taiwan. That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
I saw that the other day, and I could not believe my eyes. I was like, "Are you serious? Oh my lord!"
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, Cousins is on this list.
What about is Ron Artest on this list?
Surprisingly not. He's not on this list.
Wow. Is Matt Barnes on this list?
He is on this list, number 7.
Valid. Okay. Is who's somebody else that I think is just like a complete demon? Oh.
Yeah.
Is Charles Barkley on the list?
He is number 4 at 16.
Yeah, okay. What about who else is like a D? Oh, Rasheed Wallace is on the list. Got to. He got to be like top 3.
He's number 1. He has a
okay.
Most by far. He was the reason why that flagrant fouls are technical. It was a technical rule, right? Where if you have like 14 or 15 technicals in the season that you have to be suspended the game. He's the reason why the rule exists because he had like I think a record like 40 something technicals in 1 year. But yeah, he had 29 ejections in his career.
That makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. Ball don't lie. Somebody that mouthy, he gotta have some techs on him. Who else is somebody that like you just know? What about like somebody random like is like Kevin Garnett on the list?
He is not. There's another Kevin on this list though.
Is Shaq on the list?
Shaq is tied with DeMarcus Cousins at number 6 at 14.
Wow, okay. You said there's another Kevin on the list? What's that, like Kevin McHale or something?
No. I don't think this guy was an all-star, but he was like a former number 1 overall pick.
That's Kevin? His name is Kevin?
Kevin.
Oh,
sorry, my bad. Oh, I'm so stupid. Never mind. Forget what I said. It sounds close to Kevin, but it's not Kevin.
Oh, okay. Oh, so what's it like Kenyon Martin?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what the heck? I was like, the only other Kevin I could think of was like Kevin Johnson and Kevin Durant. I'm like, I don't think either one of those guys lead the league in ejections.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was stupid. He's tied.
Thanks for the hint, though. I'll take it. I'll take the hint.
Yeah, you're missing 1, 2, 4 players left. Yeah, 4 players left.
Hmm.
You're killing this list.
Oh, I got a good one. Dwight Howard had this really weird stretch where he just did not give a damn about anything. So like he got to be somewhere on here.
He's number 3. He's at 17.
Yeah.
He's
He
at
had this weird stretch towards the back half of the Rockets and everything past it where it just seemed like he didn't care about anything.
I swear, like, Charlotte Hornet Dwight Howard gave the least amount of fucks.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. That's
Yeah.
one of those teams where I was like, no. I'm just like, he's not doing well. He's not doing well in that situation.
Yeah,
Who
so you
else
missed
is
3 more
somebody?
players. I'll tell you, all 3 of these like final players you haven't said yet, all 90s guys.
Oh, okay, that's a good thing to know because I was gonna say Steven Jackson next, so that's good to know.
Yeah,
All
3
90s guys. Who were demons in the 90s? We talking demons as in get ejected though. Like we not talking like regular demons. Like Gary Payton?
No, not on the list. I think he like I think he probably got ejected a few times, but he's also like down for that 1-on-1 matchup. It's never like him like everyone. It's always a 1-on-1 match with Gary.
What about
one is one of your own?
One is one of my own?
One of your own.
Like the Bulls, one of my own?
Yep.
Whoa. Okay, I don't got that one. I already said Dennis Rodman.
No, you didn't say Dennis Rodman yet.
Oh, I didn't?
No, you didn't.
Crap. Okay, then there you go. Yeah,
Dennis Rodman, tied for number 10. Only 12 ejections. I guess he like left the team a lot of times, but only 12 ejections for Dennis. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know. I didn't know if I said him or not.
Honestly, these next 2 guys, the only 2 guys left on this list, one is tied for number 10 and one is at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Both, like, Bulls rivals.
Okay, that's good to know. So that means we got to either be Pistons, Indiana, or like New York. Those are the only teams that I could think of 90s. Celtics kind of, but like not really. Okay, so we got to focus Indiana, Knicks, and Pistons. There's no Bill Laimbeer?
I'm surprised he didn't make it on this list. He's not.
Yeah, okay. What about Reggie Miller?
Reggie Miller, one of the guys tied at number 10. 12 ejections on his career. I knew he talked a lot of trash. I knew he did, but 12 ejections is pretty crazy stuff for him.
Okay, so for the Knicks is funny because
he definitely was like one of those guys just to like he was there to be a tough guy. For sure.
There to be a tough
also,
guy.
RIP to this guy. I think he died within the last 5 years.
Damn. Okay. I was thinking of some. I'm thinking of the center that also played for the Bulls, that also played for the Knicks. Oakley. That's the first person I was thinking of. But they can't be Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that died? Okay, because it's not Charles Oakley and it's not John Starks.
Yeah.
Is he a guard at least?
He's a forward. This is the toughest one on the list for sure. He's the toughest one on the list. But I think if you ask a 90s like fan, they know that this guy is tough like that.
Anthony Mason? I'm sad to say this, but the only reason I knew that was because you mentioned passing away. That's actually the only reason why I got that one. But that dude was a beast. That dude was a beast in his own way, though. Seriously.
Yeah. This guy, when you're facing the Bulls, when you're facing those type of teams, you need the thing is you would have roster spots reserved for players like a Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
He said back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he did this he was part of the league when they had more than 2 rounds, and he was a third round pick in 1988, which is pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Anthony Mason. I said the last 5 years. He died in 2015 at the age of 48. But yeah, those are the guys surround the list. These are the guys that deserve Cole for Christmas. The guy with the most ejections in the league. Do you think Draymond will reach Rasheed Wallace, or you don't think there's no way?
I mean, He's got a real chance, but I think that I don't know, bro. I think he's on his last legs. I don't think he lasts long enough to get ejected enough.
Yeah.
But Draymond surprised me before. So who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, let us know down below what other quizzes you want to see going into the new year. We're gonna have like one more episode before the end of 2023. So you want to be able to go for that, and we're gonna have a pretty damn good quiz for that one as well. But yeah, Jay, we reached another end of another fantastic episode. Thank you guys for watching. What do you have to tell these beautiful people before you sign out?
Merry Christmas. By the time that you guys hear from us next, Christmas will have passed, and we are going to be looking towards the New Year's with a couple of New Year's resolutions for every team and things like that in mind. It's been a really good year so far in basketball. And I'm hoping that 2024 is very big for the Hit Your Free Throws podcast in terms of us covering the league. But so far, so good, man. I've really enjoyed every second of it so far. And I think that actually in 2024, we have the opportunity to do even more with our content. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Merry Christmas.
100%. Funnily enough, we started this page in like early January. So we're almost coming up on the first year of the Hit Your Free Throws podcast. So
yeah,
good progress in the first year. We have a lot more in store for you guys. Don't you worry about that. And we're going to, of course, come back strong in the new year. We're going to be doing some really fun, end of year sort of episode, like an end of year episode. So be on the lookout for that. And we have a lot of stuff just planned up in general. Trade deadline coming up, NBA All-Stars. We're going to come up with the content as we go along. And we hope, again, have a happy holidays. Have a really good time with your family, whoever you're spending the time with. And again, just like enjoy some NBA basketball. There's a lot of good games to watch on Christmas Day. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Remember to show love on the Hit Your Free Throws Pod, TikTok, Instagram for the daily content, YouTube and the podcast networks for the episodes, and to support our own personal pages down in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day. Hope you have a fantastic holidays. Take it easy, guys. TV and Jay signing out.
Peace.